Let's talk about inspections and repairs for a second because they're very important whether you're buying with new construction or resale. Let's talk about it. So let's first go into new construction because I feel like that's a little bit more cut and dry, a little bit more simpler because they also have the county on top of their butt just as much as me, your agent. Now there's 4 different inspections that you can have throughout your entire new construction process. Your pre-slab inspection, your pre-drywall inspection, your final walkthrough, and your 11-month inspection where they could fix all the other items that may have kind of settled during that 1-year period of living in your home. Now we've talked about those in other videos about how pre-slab is going to be where they make sure that the ground, the foundation of everything looks good. That's where the plumbing, where your footers are, everything like that. Your pre-drywall is when your guts of your home is getting in there. So your wiring, your HVAC is going through everything, nails, making sure all that's good, and plumbing. And then when they do the final walkthrough, that's making sure that everything that you purchase is right where you need it to be. Everything is good, no issues, no leaks, no all that fun stuff. And then, not fun stuff actually. Then your 11-month is where you can kind of make a punch list of things that you need fixed. And this isn't just like I need my corners painted because we moved a couch. No, that's not what's happening. It's to make sure, if any sealant on the window isn't working, if a window isn't opening, if you're having HVAC issues. And there's also warranties on those items too, a lot on your appliances, but you have to make sure that you apply for those warranties, but also your roof, making sure everything's intact there. So doors, weather stripping, all that stuff. And that's new construction ones. But those are the different inspections you can get. Now let's talk about why it's important to have those inspections. We're human. We build homes that people live in. So things happen all the time. Mistakes happen, things get overlooked, and just to have that third set of eyes is always a great option. I've had people in huge situations where they've had their house flooded because there's holes in water lines. I've had people who there's a crack in the cement that actually caused issues with their foundation later on. There was issues where things were not done properly on the roof, and so there was water coming in. And so you want to just make sure that those items are checked off no matter what stage in the process that you're in. Getting those inspections will give you peace of mind later on. And it's not just getting those inspections because yes, I understand they have the county looking as well, but just to have that other pair of eyes that are representing you, not representing the builder or the county, representing you and keeping out for your needs and your wants and your care of your home in general. Now with each inspection, you'll not only have someone doing the full thing. So it's not only your 4 points, which are 4 points of your home or your electric, plumbing, HVAC, and your roof. And so that's what insurance needs to make sure that your home is livable, So that's to make sure that those items are free and clear. You get a wind mitigation, which again is needed for insurance. So make sure you have that on your inspections when you request them. And then also doing the full inspection of the house. So if you have a crawl space underneath, you're not doing new construction, you have somewhere to crawl underneath, you have to pay for that upcharge as well. Or if you're just doing the slab and it's a normal home, they're checking every inch of that house. So there's not anything that they're missing. And a lot of the ones that I use do the infrared scan as well. So then that makes sure that there's no moisture behind the walls. And I also have some that do WDO, which is wood destroying organisms, to make sure that there's no termites or any little buggies that are having your house for lunch. After your inspection's done, then you and I get a copy and I go ahead and send it over to the builder. We go ahead and print it out so that when we're doing our walk, we make sure XYZ is done, because you do take walks throughout your entire build process. And hey, was this done? And we follow up to make sure those items are done. So new construction inspections are completely way easier than the next phase that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about resale inspections. Let's get into it. All right, resale inspections. Now these can go one of 2 ways. They can go really great, or they could go like my last closing I just had. So first off, I have some great connections with a lot of local home inspectors locally, both that provide either WDO inspections, which is again that wood destroying organism, and I would 100% say it. They do sewer scope inspections to make sure that everything looks good within the pipes, and then also making sure that everything is good within the home, 4-point wind mitigation, and just a typical home inspection, making sure the irrigation works, making sure that the HVAC actually works, and that's actually been cleaned, because that's nasty, y'all. That's nasty. And by the way, your HVAC is supposed to be cleaned every 6 months to 1 year. Just talked to one of my sellers and they're like, oh, it's every 2 years. No, 6 months to 1 year here in the state of Florida. Got it? All right, we'll continue. So first things first, make sure you hire a good home inspector, one who can thoroughly communicate what the heck is going on. Now, for the inspections, I'm actually present for the last 30 minutes of the inspection because I talk too much. And if I'm there, which I used to do in the very beginning, I used to be there the whole entire time. Problem is I want to talk to him and ask him a ton of questions, which is probably why I've gotten good at knowing a little bit of what we're reading and how I can kind of see things before we even make an offer. But at the same time, no one needs people staring at them. Like, I feel awkward when people stare at me. Like, I do video in my office by myself right now. The door's open, gives me anxiety if my kids will see me. So 100% don't like when people stare at me do my job. So I try to give them the space, and then it gives us the space to come at the last 30 minutes and thoroughly talk through things he actually knows, not while he's actually discovering them. I'd rather him try to get answers to my questions before I start blasting him with questions. So after the inspection, we're going to walk through about 30 minutes to see how everything went. And of course, again, he's representing you, making sure that everything looks good. It's not someone that the seller hired to try to, bypass XYZ. This is someone who's going to give it to you straight and give it to you how you want to hear what's actually wrong, and an expert that understands what things are actually wrong. Now, there are some things that they won't understand. Like, I know one time I was there and they're like, we don't know what this is. And I was like, I think that this is this. Let me send it to my electrician. Let me send this to my plumber. And I'll even get quotes for you guys. So we know exactly what we need to ask for in regards to repairs. But the most important thing to do during your inspection period, we get a repair request after. Yes, that is when we get to ask for the moon. I already asked for the moon when we put in the offer. I'm going to ask for it again and see if I can get some stars around that moon, because I want to make sure that you guys have nothing to worry about when you're purchasing your home, whether it's your first home, your second home, or maybe even just an investment property. I want to make sure you have no hiccups when you do purchase that home, because the most important thing is this little sentence I have to put on, even though technically on the contract it claims that it needs to be this, but somehow people continuously think that they are licensed and qualified. I put on every single repair request, by a licensed qualified professional, and then say the profession, because this is so important because of how many hiccups happen when it's not. Let's go into the train wreck I just went through. So I just had buyers who were under contract for a property that was owned by an LLC. And that's just a flipper, just an investor trying to make a quick buck. It clearly showed. So everything looked beautiful. They did exactly how I got swindled and tricked by Open Door, where they made everything look beautiful until you started looking a little bit closer. Once you started looking a little bit closer, you saw that there was a couple things that just didn't make sense. You could tell almost it looked like someone's cousin did the work. Not a qualified professional at all. So we went ahead and we did an inspection. The amount of things that came up on that inspection, I think it was in 12 print, like 12 point, and it was 2 pages long. There was so much wood rot, so many issues happening, no answers able to be done. I mean, I understand that they just flipped the property, but it was just so many things that just was cutting corners. And that's the problem when you purchase from investors, things just cut the corners just to make the money work. It was a very interesting property to begin with, but it fit the needs that they had again. So we went ahead and we said we wanted this fixed. Gave them our novel of repair requests and we said, please fix. We gave them about, 2 weeks because we were getting closer to closing. And we're like, we're going to go ahead and schedule a reinspection. We scheduled a reinspection. Guess how many items were done? I'll let you wait. Just guess. None at all. None of them. I called the agent. I said, hey, no items were done. What the heck? What's their problem? And she's like, he said they were done. I was like, did you with your eyes go over there and check? As the listing agent, did you just go check? Well, no, I didn't. Okay, we'll go over there. Go check. Why don't you? The handyman gave this sob story of, he's going through a lot at home. I said, I don't care because this is my client's home. And you have a job to do at the end of the day. And you said you'd do it and you didn't do it. And so I'm like, should we just back out? And my clients were like, no, we want this home. This is what we want. It's everything we want. And so we were like, okay, we'll give you guys another chance. We'll do a reinspection. We're going to close next week now. So we postponed a week for closing. And we told them that they would have to by the third inspection. We get the third inspection done. Nothing was done. And this is why I always tell people, it's so smart to especially when you have a bigger list like that, or I already had my guards up, my flags were up where I was just this is so sketchy. And they told us that they fired this handyman. They didn't. And they kept using him because they felt bad for him, which I didn't. So I'm just no, now you just cost yourself more money by paying a handyman and also paying for an inspection that now we want to back out. Like, we can't even trust you now. Fast forward, now we're changing the date again. And we're like, okay, 6 items, these 6 major items, because we walk in the final walkthrough day when the inspection was also happening. Water was pouring from the ceiling. The line that they said that they cleaned out was clogged, and then the pan was tilted, and so it poured all over. So it was everywhere. So we're like, I'll fix that. We first came up and got our quotes and everything like that, and they're like, we'll just fix it. And so they fixed it. They got a new handyman in there. I looked because I went over there and I made sure that they got a different handyman and made sure everything was looking good. So even they were still finishing up the date of our new closing date, not our first, not our second, but our third closing date. And that's when we were just like, do you guys want to be in this? I was like, because this is the items that we found. Does this make sense? And we made them pay for a 4th inspection. And the items did get fixed, the 6 items out of, it's divisible by what we wanted, but it got done. But we would have never known. Like, if they didn't do their other inspection, they would have just hoped that everything was fine. Or if I just was an agent who just wanted to get the closing happening, I probably wouldn't have offered to blow up the deal. It just, having someone who's transparent and having a, home inspector that's for you and trying to make sure it makes sense for you. Those are the people you want in your corner, in your court, because so many things can blow up. And then if people are telling you not to do a home inspection, sorry, this is not 2020. And the people who did get it in 2020 probably got screwed over somehow, because I don't understand how, with what I'm finding in homes right now, there's new construction homes that maybe are it's 8 years old that me and clients are going into, and I'm always checking the 4 points when we're just looking at the houses to see if that's even the house you want to move into. We're looking into it and I'm like, there's mold surrounding the HVAC. Why? It just doesn't make sense. So there's just things that you just want someone who's going to represent you, whether that be with an inspection, with a third-party inspector for new construction and resale, but also to have an agent who's able to not only know the things before you even have the inspection, walk through the inspection and fully understand, get you those quotes for those trusted vendors that you can count on, not what Joe Schmo is going to hire. 100%. Make sure you have those people. That's what all I got today. It was a mess. My clients are super happy. They love it. It's an amazing opportunity for them. I'm super excited for them. I want to throw hands with a seller, but that's a whole different story. Moral of the story, get inspections. Super important. They're the best insurance you'll ever have on your property. Also, you do need it for home insurance anyways, for the 4-point and wind mitigation. If you guys need any connections to some amazing ones in Northeast Florida, I can hook you up and maybe get you a little discount. Okay, don't tell anyone. But I'm here if you need anything in regards to St. Johns County or Northeast Florida. I'm Demi Judd with Real Broker. Until next time, I'll see ya.